Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will talk about Unity Catalog and we will go through all these pointers here like what is Unity Catalog, why we need Unity Catalog and what all features does it provide. We'll go one by one. Let's start with the first pointer. What is Unity Catalog? So if we go by the definition given by the Databricks in his documentation, right? In its documentation, it says Unity Catalog is a unified solution. Okay, unified solution. Now, this unified solution they have developed for for implementing data governance. Okay, so this is clear now that they developed Unity Catalog as a unified solution for data governance. For what? I mean, where exactly they try to govern the data, right? In the in lake houses, right? Now, let's try to break down this terminology which they use in their definition, right? What is unified solution means? Okay, so if you go by a simple definition, unified solution means like a system. Okay, so Unity Catalog is a system or a process. Okay, developed for a requirement, right? And the requirement was to implement data governance. Now we need to understand as in general, like what is data governance, right? What all features does it provide, right? We need to know the importance of data governance in today's data-driven business, right? So the I'll explain one by one what all features does it provide. Okay. So the first feature is data availability. Okay. Okay. The data availability means this will ensure the data is accessible whenever it's needed. Okay. It's like if you want the data, you can get it. The data is there. It's just that maybe you need some kind of permission, some kind of access to get the data. Okay. And data governance will take care of that. The second thing is data usability. What usability terms refers is it means making sure the data is easy to understand and easy to use, right? So data governance will help you understand the data and will let you know that how you can use this data. Okay, we will go through like how these data governance features are implemented in Unity Catalog. Okay, but first we have to understand what data governance is, right? Because this solution is developed for the data governance. That's why we are focusing on as in general what data governance is. Okay, now the third one is integrity. Okay, now what integrity means is integrity meaning is to for the data is like the data should be accurate, okay, and it should be reliable data, right? So you should know like from where the data is coming. Is it coming from the right sources or not, right? Then only you will know, okay, the data is correct or not, right? Now the last one is, and the most important one is security. Okay, we all are talking in today's world like how to secure the data and how to secure our infra, right, and everything, right? So data your data governance also provides you protection for your data from unauthorized access, right? You can protect your data from modification or from deleting, right? Like you can restrict anyone that you cannot delete my data or you cannot update my data, right? Those kind of limitations uh, you can apply, or those kind of rules you can make in your data governance, okay, by which you can save your data. And lakehouse, if you are not aware, just as an high language, as an high level, like lakehouse means the data lakes, right? And it's a mixture of data warehouse. Okay, So now if we try to decode this definition, right, now it's very easy, right? That Unity Catalog is a system which will help you to implement all these features in your data lakes or data warehouses, right? Or in your lake houses. Now, how how exactly Unity catalogs uh, help you implement this data governance policies or in data governance feature, right? Let's try to understand these things. Okay. So the first one is Unity catalog offer you data access controls. Okay. What it offers? Data access controls. Okay. So what is mean by it will restrict the users and it will give permissions to the users or the group, okay, according to the requirement. So you can implement access control to the file stored in the data lake, okay, as well as the tables and the notebooks are created into your subscription, right? So even you can protect your notebooks, your tables and the files, right? You can have the control over there, okay. So this is first feature of the Unity catalog. Now the second feature of the Unity catalog, since now uh, let's suppose once the user have some given access, right, and he is able to access the data, okay, according to his access policies. Now the second feature of Unity catalog is the audit data, right? Now Unity catalog will be able to find out, okay, will be able to give you the audit information of the data, like who accessed the data, at what time access the data, how much the data is being accessed, right, and what is the frequency of that, right? So all these audit related information related to the data is also available in your Unity catalog, okay. So if someone asks you like what are the benefits of Unity catalog, you can give these features and you can even define it, right? How exactly these are available there, right? Now the next part is like it will also give you a way, right, by which you can check the integrity of data, right? How you can able to check, because it's create a lineage, right? The Unity catalog provide you a lineage of data, okay. So now you can backtrack the data, like where is the upstream and where is the downstream in the pipeline, right? You can visually see these flow of data and you can find out what was the transformation journey for your data, right? So it is really easy for you to authenticate, to check if the data is correct coming from the sources, if it is really a meaningful data which you can use it, right? And last but not the least, since in the data lake houses, right, if you have seen that you might be ending up creating thousands of data sets, right? So sometimes it is really tough to find out which data set you need it for your work, right? It is really tough to even search the data set, right? So now the Databricks, with the help of Unity Catalog, created your data catalog as a searchable unit, right? You can search the data, okay. You can search your data assets, right? This feature is known as data discovery, okay. So as in a high level, like what all features Unity catalog provides, these are the features which Unity catalog provides, okay. Now we'll see why Unity catalogs comes into the picture, right? What was the need at that time? What was the problem, I mean, without Unity catalog, okay? So let's start with a lakehouse platform without Unity catalog. Let's imagine, okay? Now, let's suppose you are building a lakehouse, okay, and a Azure. More likely you will have a ADLS Gen 2 and a Databricks account, right? And you will have a Databricks workspace. So let's say this is your Databricks workspace, okay, okay, and this is your ADLS Gen 2, okay. Now in the workspace, generally what all things you have, right? You generally have, I mean, uh, you will either have a user or the group, right? Which you generally say user management, right? Kind of a. So user or a group, right? Either you will create it locally or you will use as your Active Directory, right, to integrate them, right? Then you will have a compute, right? You can have, I mean, you will have your compute. If you are using Databricks SQL, you will have a SQL endpoint, right? And the user and the group will have to given the access to the files and folders, right, via AIM, IAM, sorry, so that they can access the file, right? So if you wanted to access these files, you need a AIM one, right? And I mean, you had seen previously, right? We tend to use uh, we tend to write some different type of codes, or there are different ways, right, by which you can create the tables and and the views, right, on top of this data if you wanted to use it, right? So if you wanted to create a table or a view on the top of this data, right, you need a Metastore as well, right? So you will get a Metastore as well, right? So in your subscription, in your database subscription, you will have a Metastore in which the metadata related to these tables will be created, and you can assign access control over there, right? By which you can limit the users and everything, right? So you see, like, just for accessing the data, just for having the different controls over here, right? You need to have basically different type of uh, uh, basically you have to basically create different type of solutions, right, to access the data, whether you are accessing the table, whether you are accessing the file. And imagine if you are working on a multi-cloud platform, right? Then you will have to create these access controls and the cloud provide, I mean, access controls on different cloud providers, right? And it is extremely difficult when you are working on an enterprise level of data, right? And in my experience, like, whenever you are working with the enterprise kind of a data sets, right, you will ending up creating multiple Databricks workspaces, right? It is just one, and just for one you have to do all these things. So you have to clone, you have to copy all these kind of things, and you have to manage these kind of permissions, limitations for all the Databricks workspaces. So it was difficult at that time. Now Unity catalogs bring you a solution by which it will centralize. 1 minute. Yeah, let me draw it. Okay. So with the help of Unity catalog, now what you can do, your Hive Metastore, like, which you use here, this is called Hive Metastore in general. Okay. Here and here we call it a Unity Metastore. So there is a difference. Okay. Don't get confused with Hive Metastore and Unity Metastore. It's quite different. Okay. And you will see user management, right, which we talked about just now. Okay. So these two things will be centralized here. Okay, so you don't have to maintain your like user management things, okay, separately for each of the subscription, right? You don't have to do it. Workspace, sorry, not subscription. Okay, you don't have to do it, right? Because Unity catalog fixes all these things. We can have an account level Unity catalog that contains user management and the metadata management across different workspaces. Okay, so you don't have to create multiple ones, and the only thing you need to create is the compute. Okay, rest all the things will be managed as in as a center box. Okay, so now it is centralized, right? You can give the access to the user and management, and that will be applicable across different workspaces. Okay, the only catch here is, right, the only thing we need to make sure is, first of all, don't confuse with this Hive Metastore and Unity Catalog Metastore. Okay, so they both are different. Okay, Hive Metastore is just give you a feature to store the metadata, nothing else. Okay, but Unity catalogs give you lot of benefits, right, on the Metastore side. Like, it will store the metadata, it will give you the data lineage, it will give you the data discovery, it will give you um, the audit logs, right? All those features it provide. But Hive Metastore is a very small Metastore which is only built to store some kind of a metadata. That's it. Even if in your workspace Unity Metastore is enabled, you will still see Hive Metastore. So don't get confused, right? These Metastore, like the Hive Metastore, is just there for the backward compatibility and the support, right? So that later on, if you want, you can migrate this data to Unity catalog. Okay, that kind of feature is there. Now, the one point which I was saying earlier that we need to take care is this Metastore. Okay, so uh, see, you will have one Unity Metastore for the Databricks account. That is perfect, right? But in most of the cases, if you are working on a global enterprise data sets, right, assets across multiple regions, okay. So if you are working across multiple regions, right, in the case of regions, you need to create uh, Metastores in different regions, right? Okay. Now, why we need to create multiple Metastores, right? Because as per documentation, as per Databricks documentation, it is recommended that Metastore be created for different reasons. The different Metastores should be created for different reasons because it will save your cost, okay, and it will improve the performance, okay, because the egress cost, right? That will be less in that case, okay. So that is the only reason you can have multiple Unity Metastores for multiple reasons, right? But not at the workspace level. You don't have to create multiple Unity Metastores for multiple workspaces, right? So you can use same Metastore and same user management in multiple workspaces. So this is how it actually saves a lot of complications, okay, and reduce cost. So in the end, if I talk about Unity catalog, what all things it will give you. Okay, let me write it. Okay, we will just summarize it quickly. So the first and the most important thing is the Metastore, as we discussed, metadata. Okay, the second thing is we talked about is access control. Okay, the third thing is the user management, right? And based on this metadata, right, and based on this user management, there are other benefits as well, like the data explore, right? You can explore like what kind of data you have, right? It provides you a feature. Then you have another feature called data lineage, right? You can see. And the last but not the least is audit logs, right? So these are the features provided by Unity Catalog, and they actually help you enabling all the uh, system around your data, right? It is actually a system to enable the data governance in Databricks. So I hope this video will be helpful for you guys. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you.